This video presentation covers the installation and splicing of the 82G cabinet. 82 type cabinets are metal housings used to contain various arrangements of feeder distribution interfaces, carrier systems, multiplexers, repeaters, and other types of loop plant equipment. The 82 type cabinets are available factory equipped with a variety of options by group number. See Manual 631-600-290 for additional information on the 82 type cabinet family. 82 type cabinets are installed on concrete foundation pads. The pads may be precast or cast in place. ED drawings 1T298-01, 1T299-01, and 1T300-01 are available to provide design specifications for each specific cabinet. Video 860-147-743 shows the procedures for assembling the foundation pad mounting bracket and constructing a cast-in-place pad for an 82G cabinet. Now let's go through the procedures for installing an 82G cabinet. The cabinet is shipped from the factory in protective packaging. In order to avoid damage, the cabinet should be delivered to the installation site with the packaging intact. Here, the cabinet is shown bolted to the bottom pallet with the protective packaging removed for inspection. Leave the cabinet bolted to the pallet for now to add stability before the cabinet is placed on the pad. The shims and leveling instructions are stapled to the pallet. 4 rope slings and 5 B connecting links, or equivalent clevises, are required for lifting the cabinet. In order to provide a safe work operation, each sling should have a minimum length of 9 feet. Attach one end of the slings to the boom line from a derrick. The derrick must have a minimum load rating of 3,000 pounds. A B connecting link, or clevis, is placed through the loop at the other end of the slings. Attach a clevis, or B connecting link, to each lifting eye bolt on top of the cabinet. Attach a tag line to the lifting eye bolt on top of the cabinet closest to the concrete pad. The tag lines will be used to direct the cabinet over the mounting holes in the concrete pad. Raise the boom line to take the slack out of the lifting lines. Using the tag lines, guide the cabinet off the truck and onto the ground beside the concrete foundation pad. Open the splice chamber door using the special hex key. Swing the door open to engage the door stay. Remove the lower access panel by sliding it straight up and lifting out. Store in a safe location. Remove the packet of hardware and the instruction sheet from the cabinet. The packet contains the mounting hardware for the cabinet. The shims and leveling instructions are stapled to the pallet. Review the instruction sheet to become familiar with the procedures and to help prevent problems during the installation. Scrape the mounting bracket plates to remove any concrete or loose debris. Sweep the pad to remove any remaining debris that could interfere with the leveling of the cabinet. Now remove the temporary bolts from the anchors in the foundation pad. The purpose of the temporary bolts was to keep the anchors free of concrete and debris and to keep the threads clean. They can now be discarded. Remove the 2 nuts and 4 washers securing the cabinet to the pallet at the splice chamber end and at the AC end. Close and lock the splice chamber and AC chamber doors. Gently lift the cabinet and move the cabinet to the foundation pad using the tag lines. The 82G cabinet is designed to allow safe and easy placement on pads where cables are already in place. The lower splice access panel and front cable seal plate can be removed to allow easy placement of the cables into the cabinet. Align the splice chamber opening with the cable ducts. Suspend the cabinet above the mounting bracket. Slowly lower the cabinet over the mounting bracket, aligning the mounting holes in the cabinet with the mounting bracket anchor holes. Lower the lifting line, but keep a slight amount of tension on it until the anchor bolts are installed. Secure the cabinet to the pad by inserting 4 1/2-inch by 13 cap screws furnished with the cabinet. Do not tighten the cap screws at this time. The cabinet must be level to assure proper sealing and proper door operation. Place a level on both sides of the cabinet and also at the ends to check its level. Open and close the cabinet doors on both sides to ensure they are aligned with the cabinet and that they open and close easily. Repeat this procedure for the battery chamber panel to make sure the tabs align with the cabinet slots and that the panel can be inserted and removed easily without binding. The cabinet doors must be opened to remove the panel. After inspecting the battery chamber panel, reinstall the panel, lock the panel into place, and close and lock the cabinet doors. Adjust the level of the cabinet as necessary by placing a shim or shims supplied with the cabinet under the lowest corner. Shims are also provided to level the battery floor. After the cabinet is level, secure the cabinet to the pad by tightening the cap screws previously inserted. Recheck the cabinet for level after tightening the screws. Remove the clevis or B connecting link from each lifting eye bolt and remove the tag lines. Remove the boom and lifting lines. Now, remove the 4 eye bolts from the top of the cabinet and install the cap screws furnished with the cabinet. Use a wrench to keep the eye bolt mounts from turning and disturbing the water seal adhesive while removing the eye bolt and tightening the cap screw. At the AC end of the cabinet, carefully remove the fiber cable loop and lay the roll of fiber on the ground. This cabinet is equipped with an optional factory-installed, pre-terminated fiber splicing shelf. Do not disturb the fiber connection to the fiber splice shelf. Remove the red cap plug and insert the cable seal, small end first, into the cover plate opening. Install the cable seal hardware and secure using 4 nuts. Next, wrap 5 to 6 inches of electrical tape around the AC ground wire to prevent it from making contact with the cable seal cover plate. Remove the metal snap-in grommet and route the ground wire from underneath the cover plate and into the AC chamber. Place the metal snap-in grommet over the ground wire and snap into the cable seal cover plate hole. Next, CAD weld the ground lug to the ground wire. To protect the electronics, place a cardboard cover between the AC entrance and the ground wire. Cut the excess weld off the top of the ground lug. Continue wrapping electrical tape around the entire length of the ground wire. To begin the biddle test, attach a Megger or equivalent probe to the AC ground lug and depress the 3 ohm button. The test measures 1.38 ohms and passes the ground continuity test. Local practices require a reading of 10 ohms or less to pass the continuity test. Route the ground wire and lug to side 1, bay 1 of the cabinet. And terminate the ground lug to the ground bus using 2 M6 screws. Close and lock the door on side 1 of the cabinet. With one worker in the handhole, pull the fiber cable through the cable seal and into the fiber conduit opening until all the excess fiber loop is in the handhole. Allow sufficient fiber slack in the AC chamber. Seal the space between the fiber cable and the conduit with duct plug, or an equivalent compound. Next, seal around the ground wire in the AC chamber using duct plug. Now it's time for the installation of the AC power service. This work can be performed by telephone company personnel or by an electrical contractor. All electrical service for the cabinet must conform to the National Electrical Code as well as all state and local codes, and should only be performed by licensed electricians. The AC power panel may vary somewhat from cabinet to cabinet. A decal located on the cabinet door provides the correct power panel wiring instructions. A Group 35 power panel is shown assembled here for the 82G cabinet. Power service can be provided with a cabinet-mounted power meter or a pedestal-mounted power meter. This 82G cabinet is equipped with an optional factory-installed external transfer switch. Some cabinet models may be powered directly to the AC load center. To begin, remove the AC cover panel at the bottom of the AC chamber. Pull the electrical wires from the AC chamber conduit and towards the adjacent power pedestal. The wires include a neutral, a ground, and two 120-volt hot wires. Remove the top screw from the LB conduit and move the cover to the right. Next, remove the two screws at the top of the transfer switch and remove the cover. At the bottom of the transfer switch, remove the blue plastic bushing and lock nut securing the seal-tight flex conduit. From the back of the transfer switch, pull the flex conduit out and away from the transfer switch. Turn the flex conduit counterclockwise to disconnect from the LB conduit. Remove the conduit. Starting at the bottom of the AC chamber, feed the AC wire into the LB conduit and out of the L-shaped opening at the top. Repeat for all four wires. Close the cover to the LB conduit, insert the conduit screw into the cover and tighten. Next, tape the AC wires together and pull the wires through the flex conduit. Reconnect the flex conduit onto the LB conduit by aligning and turning the conduit clockwise until snug. Now, pull the AC wires from the flex conduit through the back right opening of the transfer switch. From inside the transfer switch, insert the lock nut over the AC wires and onto the flex conduit and tighten. Insert the blue female bushing over the AC wires and onto the flex conduit and tighten. Remove the electrical tape from the AC wires and from the end of the bundle. Next, remove the four screws securing the electrical panel cover and remove the cover. Wrap the neutral wire with white tape and route through the transfer switch flex conduit located on the left side and back of the electrical panel. Terminate the neutral wire onto the neutral bus lug. Reinstall four screws into the electrical cover panel, tighten, and close the cover. At the transfer switch, wrap green tape around the ground wire, measure and cut to length, score the ground wire 1/2 inch from the end, and remove the outer sheath. Terminate the ground wire onto the ground lug. Next, tighten the green bonding screw. Route the 120-volt hot wires to the AC commercial side of the transfer switch, measure, cut to length, score the hot wires 1/2 inch from the end, and remove outer sheath. Terminate the hot wires on the load lugs. Replace the transfer switch cover, insert the two screws and tighten. Apply duct plug or foam around the AC wires and fiber cable at the bottom of the AC chamber. Reinstall the lower access panel at the bottom of the AC chamber. Disengage the door stay, close and lock the AC chamber door. This completes the AC wiring requirements for the 82G cabinet. The power pedestal cabinet will be wired using local standard procedures. Open the splice chamber door using the special hex key and swing the door open to engage the door stay. Inside the splice chamber, open the splice cover panel doors by turning the 3 plastic tabs a quarter turn. Remove the cardboard box containing the cable seals and hardware. Close and lock the splice cover panel doors. Next, remove the 2 screws securing the cable box cover and remove from the cabinet. Remove the orange plastic caps covering the cable seal cover plate holes. Wrap electrical tape around the ground wire starting approximately 10 inches from the concrete pad. Route the ground wire through the cable seal cover plate hole. Position the ground wire over the ground bus and cut to length. Remove the 4 ground screws from the ground bus. Bend the ground wire outside the cabinet and run the wire through a protective cardboard cover. CAD weld the ground lug onto the ground wire. Cut off the excess weld. Connect the ground lug to the ground bus and secure using 2 screws. Insert the remaining 2 screws removed to make room for the ground lug. Install the 4 cable seals, small end first, into the cable seal plates and secure using the hardware provided. The cable seals will later be placed over the copper cables. Apply duct plug at the base of the ground wire. This video represents one method for bonding, grounding, and splicing the copper cable after the cable has been run from the handhole to the remote terminal cabinet. Follow local practices for performing these procedures. Now let's go through the procedure for bonding and grounding the cable. Prepare the copper cable for splicing by marking the sheath 1.5 to 2 inches above the top of the cable seal cover plate. Here, the cable seal has been installed, small end first, and secured to the cable seal cover plate. The cable sheath and steel template is shown removed from the mark to the end of the cable. The core wrap remains on the cables for protection. The sheath removal procedure will vary with the type of cable used. The cable here is a 2100 pair encapsulated water-resistant cable. To bond the cable, start by cutting a 1-inch notch in the cable sheath and steel template. With the cutting tool, pry the steel template and cable sheath outward. Insert 3 pair protector discs between the metal shield and the core wrap. Next, insert a D-bond clamp with threaded stud into the notch. Drive the clamp down into the notch and reposition the sheath and steel template against the core wrap. Wrap vinyl tape around the D-bond clamp and cable sheath to secure the bond clamp in place. Attach the outside plate of the D-bond clamp onto the threaded stud and secure using a nut with attached conical washer. Tighten nut with a 2/16 type tool. Finish tightening using a ratchet wrench. Attach a number 6 AWG bond strap onto the stud. Secure using a nut with attached conical washer. Tighten using a 2/16 type tool. Finish tightening using a ratchet wrench. Remove a spare M6 screw from the cabinet floor ground bus and use it to attach the bond strap lug onto the cabinet floor ground bus. Tighten screw using a 2/16 type tool. Finish tightening using a Phillips head screwdriver. This completes the bonding and grounding procedure. Exercise extreme care when cutting binding string and removing core wrap to prevent accidentally cutting the copper wires. Cut and remove the string securing the mylar core wrap around the copper wires. Pull the core wrap while continuing to cut the strings. Remove the core wrap completely from the wires. Cut and remove the external string binding the 100 pair copper wires. Do not cut the ribbon wrapped around the binder groups. Remove the 8 spare tracer wires from the cable bundle. Wrap and twist the spare tracer pairs together. Inside the splice chamber, hang the binder marker kit onto the test clip for easy access to the color-coded cable ties for tagging the binder groups. Identify and tag the binder groups using the color-coded cable ties. Continue until all 21 100-pair groups have been identified and tagged. Wrap 3M stretch film around all the binder groups. Secure the film in place using a large cable tie. Open the splice cover panel doors by turning the 3 plastic tabs a quarter turn. Pull open the right door first and then the left door to provide access to the remote terminal tails and OSP connectors. For this splicing procedure, OSP cables are terminated with 710 connectors. Cut and remove the cable ties securing the RT tails to the splice chamber bracket. Remove the plastic retaining clips from the splice bracket. Pull the RT tails outside the splice chamber and position beside the distribution cable. Next, support the distribution cable in the splice chamber by wrapping a large cable tie around the bottom chamber bracket and distribution cable. Attach cable ties to all the distribution cable groups and to the appropriate RT tail groups as shown. All RT tails have designated labels to identify their binder groups. Now let's go through the procedure for splicing the copper cable. Set up the splicing tool for the 710 type connectors as required. The RT cables are terminated with 710 type connectors and are marked for identification. Remove the protective plastic wrap from the 710 connector. Select the appropriate distribution cable and RT cable binder groups as specified in the work print. Dress the conductors in the appropriate 710 module. And complete the splice in accordance with standard procedure. Bind the 4 25-pair groups together using a cable tie. And secure the splice in the wire retainer bracket in the back of the splice chamber using a cable tie and plastic retainer clips. Continue splicing and storing the 100-pair modules as required until splicing is completed as indicated on the work print. Swing the interior splice area doors back into position over the splices. Replace the cable cover box and secure using 2 screws removed earlier. Lift up on the door stay to release the door, close the splice chamber door, and secure the latch by turning the door handle clockwise. After a cabinet has been installed on a foundation pad, ground settling may occur, causing the cabinet to become out of alignment. Leveling adjustments may need to be made so the doors open and close easily and seal properly. If the cabinet needs to be leveled, a lifting bracket can be attached to the low end of the cabinet and used to raise the cabinet slightly to add leveling shims. To determine the number of shims needed to level the cabinet, place the level on top of the cabinet at the low end and place leveling shims under the level until level. Inside the chamber leg, loosen, but do not remove, the 2 carriage bolts anchoring the cabinet to the pad. At the low side of the cabinet, remove only the top 2 carriage bolt hex nuts and bolts. Outside the chamber leg, insert the carriage bolts into the lifting bracket. To support the lifting bracket bolt, place a spare leveling shim underneath the lifting bracket location. Align the lifting bracket and bolts with the top 2 holes in the chamber leg. Attach and tighten the 2 hex nuts. Turn the bolt with your fingers until it touches the shim. Raise the cabinet by turning the 5/16" hex head bolt clockwise using the 5/16" ratchet wrench. Continue turning until the cabinet has been raised enough to place leveling shims under the cabinet. At the low end chamber leg, Align the shims with the anchor bolt. Note, the dimples in the shim allow the shims to be stacked and the U-shaped slots in the shims align with the anchor bolt. Push the shims under the cabinet until the shims are flush with the outside edge of the cabinet. The slot in the shims align with the anchor bolt. To lower the cabinet, turn the 5/16 inch hex head bolt counterclockwise. Place the level on top of the cabinet and recheck the cabinet for level. Check the doors to ensure that they are in alignment. Inside the chamber leg, remove the top 2 carriage bolt hex nuts and the bolts. Remove the lifting bracket and the leveling shim placed under the hex head bolt. Reinsert the carriage bolts, hex head nuts, and tighten. Tighten the bolts securing the cabinet to the mounting bracket. Reinstall the access cover panel and close and lock the chamber door. This completes the leveling of the 82G cabinet using the lifting bracket.